this bowl represents? What is the frequency?
528.
528, which is a what frequency?
Love.
A love frequency.
And healing.
It's probably a frequency that is most known throughout the world today, is the 528. If you Google 528, you'll get all kinds of things all over the world that people are doing with the 528 frequency. It also represents our heart chakra. Also on it, you'll see the symbol of the what? Seed
Flower
of
of
life. The seed of life. I call that God DNA. That's God's DNA. Just as the sperm and the egg comes together to create that first pattern that's going to become that individual. It all comes together because of vibration, electromagnetic fields, and all the things that make us up coalesce into a pattern. And that's why what Sandra is getting ready to offer us is so important, because it's that pattern that is the pattern of the microcosm to the macrocosm of the universe that makes the universe in you in a pattern. You have the pattern of the whole universe in you. Isn't that cool? And that means that pattern carries a language of its own. We call it universal consciousness. Are you with me? Universal. See, we use these words, but we really don't know what that means. Universal consciousness, Christ consciousness, what in the world these things mean is important, because they have no power but in their definition, not in the word itself, but in the definition of the word. Words are nothing. Words are just made up sounds in the head, but unless it's attached to a definition and intention, it has no power. It is dead word. And we're looking for the living word. When it says, and the word is made flesh, it's because it's made flesh because it's a living, vibrating word that is using the language of the universe toward manifesting itself to the cellular level. And that's why we sing the cells of my body. Please understand there's a reason for everything spiritually that's going on here today. We're not just singing to sing, and we're not just doing this to do that. We're here because we're participating and being co-creators into transforming and changing the world by beginning in my world. And that's why Tim changed that, and I thought that was brilliant, that I can't say I can change the whole world today, but I have the power to change my world today. Are you with me?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. So, we did the chakra bowls last Sunday, and I know the idea and the subject of chakra is just overused in this community of what we call metaphysical or New Age or whatever you want to call it. But I am not convinced that we understand the real power of what the chakras really mean. And chakras are understood on many different dimensions. There's a deeper understanding of chakras that's out there, that's surface type chakras. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the first chakra is all I'm going to do today, and that is the root chakra, because I think it's the most important one for you to start with, because that is your foundation of everything that happens in your life is first contained in the patterns and vibration of your first chakra. So I wanted to start with kind of where I left off last week. If Tim can show the way chakras are made in the energy body is by the use of 3 energy channels. 3 energy channels. The first channel is the one that runs down the center, and we're going to use the Eastern name because we don't have a good one in English for Sushumna. Everybody say Sushumna. See, lightning did not strike, so it's okay. God's okay with it. You can say it. But in English, the best way might say a prana tube. A prana tube runs down the center of the Bible, and prana means what? Spirit, but it also means breath. So this is where the breath of God moves in you. The breath of God is different than the human breath. It's different on a life level than it is a living. Because when people are living, they stop breathing at the end of the living cycle. I'm not call it the life cycle. Notice, there's no end to the life cycle, but there's an end to the living cycle, because anything that lives will die. But life doesn't. Life has no beginning and no end. It does not die. So life does continue. What form, I can't tell you. I mean, everybody's got an opinion of what it's like, in the afterlife. And my goodness, I've heard so many different stories and experiences. I'm not sure which one I know. But what I do know or don't know is what I've either experienced or not experienced. I can't build on other people's experiences that say, this is what happened to me after life experience. That's their experience. Now, if I choose just to believe that, then I'm just have another belief without an experience. Are you with me? Because you've got to be careful about piling up beliefs with no experience. Because the experience is the fuel of the belief. You can believe anything. But how much of that do you know? And knowing is experiencing it. Once you experience something, you know it. This is why I've never backed down on my experience of the baptism of the Holy Spirit. As fundamentalist, Pentecostal as that is in my story, it's not a doctrine that I still believe in. It's an experience I had, and experiences do not change themselves. They are experienced. And I know nobody could turn me or change me. You could sit and intellectually disprove that whole experience of me receiving the Holy Spirit, speaking in tongues and everything, till the cows come home, and you would not change me in any way because it's not a part of my belief system. It's a part of my knowing system, which I happen to believe. So there's a difference in knowing first and then believing what you know, than believing and trying to know. Are you with me? Yeah. All right. So this runs down the center of the body. That's why we kind of, if you look at ourselves, we're kind of right side, left side, 2 arms, 2 legs, so on and so forth. In the lower part of the body, mostly, because you get up here, we get more single, right? We get into the head. We don't have 2 heads, and we don't have, there's a difference as we move up the scale. Now, since we are electrical/spiritual beings, and I'm trying to adjust ourselves from being spiritual to energy, I think that's an important shift and upgrade in the language, is to talk of ourselves more energetically than just spiritually, although we're going to use both right now because we're in an overlap. Some people who haven't had the experience of the shift that everything is energy still holds on to the religious term spiritual. And spirit, unfortunately, is mostly a religious term. Now, it doesn't have to be when you have a different understanding of spirit that it's energy, then using spirit is fine. But if you're using in the context of how you've been taught to use it from a religious format, then you're speaking of something different, because the way they use it separates us from the body and mind. Am I right or wrong about that? And we all thought this was the greatest thing, the body, mind, spirit thing, the body, mind, spirit thing. Now, I still think it's a great tool for teaching because we're still overlapped into a 3D world. So therefore, we understand a lot of things in 3 dimensions. We get that. So when I do teaching, as I did a year ago, I did it on the body, mind, spirit. But I was also trying to bring everything and realize that paradigm is dissolved into everything is energy. Huh? My body is energy. What I'm calling my soul is energy, my mind, and my spirit is energy. So all of that just dissolves into one. And that is so important that I'm trying to get over to New Thought metaphysical people, is don't get stuck anywhere where there is a separation. Heal all separation. So if I talk body, mind, spirit, I'm talking about 3 different separate forms of the same thing. You got it? Yes. And I know you get tired of this one too, but I can talk about ice, steam, and water, and it sounds like I'm talking about 3 different things, but I'm talking about 3 different forms of the same thing, which is water molecules. They're all the same, made out of the same thing, but because the temperature changes, the form changed. And just because the universe decided a way to have a relationship with myself is to create a spectrum of vibration. And through the different vibrations, I can know myself in different ways. Are you with me?
Yes.
And that's why it started out, and God vibrated across the face of the deep. God fluttered. God moved. First thing is vibration. So, to be electrical beings, not just spiritual, but on a physical level, we're more chemically based, we're more electrical beings. To keep alive, you need, of course, a polarity. You need a polarity. Again, I will use the fact of these plugs in here. These plugs only work, and you can enjoy the light and the manifested light upon you because of the fact you have a polarity that is not separate but divides itself to work with itself. There's a difference in dividing to work with yourself. So the electrical system divided itself into a male and female. Now, I'm not an electrician, I just happen to know that for some reason, that it takes a male and female in anything to make electricity work, if one's not working. So they have to cooperate. That's a polarity. Nothing wrong with polarities. But it's a way in which the same thing can use itself in two different forms to produce. So it moves itself into the polarity of the female and the male, the yin and the yang, negative and positive, whatever you want. So this is very important for all of this to be a system. Chakras are a system, an energetic system that runs through part of who you are as an energy being. And for it doesn't matter. You can have all the chakras you want, but if you don't turn the switch back there, I don't care how good the electrical system is in this room, it will not work till somebody turns it on. Somebody help me. Amen. That's why I'm trying to turn you on. Yeah, I'm trying to flip your switch because a lot of you come in here with your switch down on off. And that's what the whole service is up to this point, trying to flip the switch and turn on your system, your electrical system. So the chakra, for them to be a living experience that we want to look at and study, is because of the fact of the neutral, the male, and the female. Three things coming together. Now, I hope I get to the first chakra today. I just feel I got to educate you more about chakras and why they're so important, so they don't just become a word you hear every time you go to a workshop or something like that. So, what was I saying before then? So the reason that we have chakras is what I'm talking about. So this is a little lesson that has been taught by us for 22 years. And I want you to get this. Energy crossing energy creates energy. Say that with me. Energy crossing energy creates energy. More energy. So remember that. Energy crossing energy creates more energy. So, and you know, I don't have what to show you here, but I can pile up like 3 tuning forks, but where they cross each other is thicker than each individual. So it's building and building and building. And that's why we use in energy work the ability of crossing energy with energy. Okay? Well, this is what's going on here between the female, which again we're borrowing their word, is Ida. I always think of old Aunt Ida. That's how I remembered that when I first thought that. I'm going to remember Ida. And I thought, I used to have an old Aunt Ida. So, but it's not Ida, it's Ida. And that's the female. And look how she's moving up. And of course, that reminds us of what in the Eastern? Kundalini. And this is all from here, because it's all coiled up here. But the switch isn't on. Are you with me? The switch is not on, so it stays at the base until it's turned on. So you have to activate it. And there's nothing better than the tapping of the tuning fork together that creates a charge and turns it on. See, that's what tuning is about. It's just turning on your systems, because a lot of your systems are not on real good. Someone's kind of diminished and slow and not been used, and they need to be recharged in some way. So there's other ways of doing it. That's why we've tried to bring in bowls and more vibration, because we want to turn on that. So here they are. Here she is moving up. He's coming down, because that's the way we incarnate, is through the crown and down. We finally end up as the human, but we start up here. Now get this, because this gets really good. So as we do this, and you start this in the womb. In fact, you have every chakra before and at birth has already been formed by the 9-10 month gestation period of being in the womb. You have created 7 different levels of your energetic being by the time you push out of the root chakra. Where do you think you come out at? Through the sexual organs. Male and female have come together in you and has traveled all the way down using the 7 dimensions to keep changing its vibration until it's formed itself into a pure physical form that can be born out of the root chakra. So here they are. Look, crossing, Ida Pingala, crossing. They're all crossing each other. And where they cross each other, they create what? More energy. Now, when you create more energy, at some point the energy catches the movement, the flow of the universe. And that is a word I'm going to give you, because I hope you'll learn it sometime or look it up. Torsion. Torsion. It's called torsion energy. But you don't have to even remember torsion. All you have to remember, torsion means spinning, or a vortex. A vortex. Vortex. Everything follows that. As I mentioned, I think it was last week, back in the 90s, when all that, what was it, the spinning thing? Yeah, the Sufi dancing and spinning is so powerful. I mean, some of them disappeared. If you've never seen those, there's a name for that, it's dancing, but it's quite phenomenal to watch it, how that they spin so much that they find the universal spin. And I'm thinking about a Bible story about Elijah, who went up in a whirlwind. Ooh, I just thought of that. That's great. Elijah went up in a whirlwind. You can go up in a whirlwind too. If you'll create enough speed of your torsion energy, it will take you into dimensions you have never known or thought of. So it is where these cross, all 3 of them, that creates energy that catches the spin. Okay, now we got to spin in 7 places in which are crossed throughout the body. So, in India, between 1500 and 500 BC, the first is mentioned of this spin in the oldest text that we know, called the Vedas. That's like the Bible is Western, the Veda is Eastern Hindu, okay? The evidence of chakras, which was really pronounced or spelled C-A-K-R-A, chakra, was also then found in the Upanishad. Probably not heard of that, but it's another text, Eastern text. It's a lot of stuff in the Upanishad. So it ends up around 1500 BC, which is a long time ago, that we begin to detect these things that we're finally naming chakra. Why? Because chakra means disc or spin or vortex. That's what it means. So those who were not audio, but clairvoyant, and was able to see all of this going on. Because you can remember, these people didn't spend their time climbing the corporate ladder. These people didn't worry about the label of their clothes or the car they drove. They were meditating. That was their life. It was meditation, contemplation, learning. It was their life. It wasn't a Sunday morning, Wednesday thing. They had no specific times of coming together because it was a lifestyle. And they reaped that while the Western world went toward Newtonian left brain materialism and greed. So therefore, they are the ones that gets this first over 5,000 years ago. And they saw these whirling things going on like discs, and they named them chakras. Again, chakras. The chakra system has passed down through oral tradition by the Indo-European people called the Aryan people. The teachings of chakras was an Eastern philosophy until New Age authors like and Judith resonated with the idea and wrote about the chakras, making it more accessible to the West. That's quite a book, by the way. It's called Wheels of Life. In fact, you're going to see a little bit of that later of her stuff. It's amazing. There are, and I'm very skeptical about numbers, but 114 actually different major chakras. Now, if you're in the Nada system, you're into even more subtle chakras, but this says 114 chakras over the entire body. We deal with the major 7. A person's chakras are connected to the health. Now, this is why you want to know about them. You want to be healthy, but you don't want to learn how to get healthy by using the chakra system. A person's chakras are connected to their health and physical body, mind, emotional well-being of a person, and has interfaced with yoga. There are even chakra movements in yoga that can be learned. In fact, I gave them some of those back when I was teaching this, that there are certain ones. The first one, if you don't know what it is, since we're talking about the first chakra today, would be laying down on the floor, a mat or somewhere, and getting your feet over your head and looking like a baby does. I love that. In fact, I do that every morning before I get out of bed. I take my feet, bring them back, and stretch my lower back and my legs, and I do the baby pose. That's the first chakra. And I totally expose my first chakra when I do that. But I'm opening up my first chakra and releasing the energy, or bringing the energy in. So there are different poses that connect us with our chakra. This I got yesterday. I don't get things for Sunday sometimes until Saturday afternoon, which drives some people nuts who are trying to plan these services. But I can't help it. I have to get into the energy of the service first before I physically show up here. Does that make sense to you? Yes. By Saturday afternoon, I'm in the etheric energy body that's going to become this service. And here's what I got that I want to share with you, I'm excited about. The soul comes through the crown and goes down, creating 7 levels of consciousness that we call chakras. Then when we are finally birthed from the sperm of the male through the vagina of the female, the body then must begin the journey back to the crown to experience its enlightenment. Wow. I thought I get it. Yes. And this is why the Tibetan Book of the Dead tells us we die by chakras. Long before a physical death, a person has already begun the death process. This is why they change stages. There's stages to death. And that's why I think there's such a call right now to work with this doula thing and the dying and helping people. I think anybody who does that And I hope that you can bring this to them, because I know Rhonda's starting the class on becoming a doula and assisting people. It's very good to know exactly how death unfolds through the chakras before it finally goes out the body and leaves that physical body. It's gone through 7 different stages. One of the first things that I've noticed about people who are in the process of physical death is they start seeing their relatives. Well, my mother did. Why? Because it's tribal. So the process has begun at the tribal root chakra. And I think that we do not know in the West how to help people to make that transition. One of the worst things we do is we all get around the bed and say, hold on, don't leave me. And I'm sure they could say something like, go away and leave me alone. A lot of people wait until everybody's gone and taking a coffee break, and then they slip out. Have you noticed that? So we need training in that area. We need to know how to help people for finding a rhythm and not getting into ourselves about, oh, you're leaving me. Please don't leave me. Because it becomes all about us at that time. The body then must begin the journey back to the crown. And that's when we start this journey up. So it really starts this way, comes down. The soul is in much better shape here by the time it gets down here. Our journey is remembering our story of creation. Oh my God, I want you to get that. This is what you're here for. This is, if you have any frustration or yearning or don't feel like I'm quite getting what I want, what it is that you first have to experience is remember the story of your creation and why it is chosen to incarnate through the story of incarnation. Remembering our story of creation and purpose for incarnating through the different chakras as we grow in life. Unfortunately, here it is, we change our story, real story, due to outside influences from tribe, gender. I mean, there's even such confusion about gender issues that people has ignored for centuries and decades that is coming forth today. I just watched a little bit of the Golden Globes, and what's his name? Help me, Sandra, that we love from Pose, Billy.
Billy Porter.
Billy Porter. Wow. I mean, he just gave a powerful speech for trans people and all of that. And I know that's something, I just don't get that. I just don't understand that. How can that be? But it is, and always has been, and it's one of the most ignored situations where people have dropped through the cracks of society, but we're being forced to deal with it today because mostly of the arts, because they have the power. And some of them are choosing to use it for good reasons. Not all of them, but a lot of people who are movie stars and have millions of followers or whatever are using it, I think, for very good spiritual purposes to raise consciousness about that. So we changed the story because we learn who I am as a body in a tribe. I learn all these different things. Religion gives me ideas. My tribe gave me ideas. Education gives me ideas. All this outside stuff starts making a me. Now, they don't make me who I was created to be. They make me a me that is in the likeness of their image. See, they use a God principle, but we're created in God's image and likeness, and they take that principle and start recreating us into their likeness because there's certain things they'd like for you to be. Oh yeah, dumb, unenlightened, sheeple, uneducated. Oh yeah. Thank God we're waking up to the real story, the rest of the story. Are you with me?
Yes.
Are you with me? Each chakra is symbolized by the lotus flower. Did you know that? It's not just a glob of energy spinning, but it has a pattern like this. the lotus. Why? This symbol is very important in order to grow spiritually, as we have to pass through 3 different stages, each one representing a stage of our existence. First is we have to pass through the ignorance of delusion. Now, how many people are still in that place where they have no idea that most of what they see and do and believe is a part of the illusions of the world? Second, we have to get to a stage of commitment and determination. It takes determination to get through the physical, earthly, illusional plane, because it's strong. And even you and I, when we forget who we are, and we're not centered in our spiritual principles we've learned, we start reacting just like everybody else. We lose it completely because it takes determination. You have to be determined to take it from your family. You have to be determined to be misunderstood by society and culture itself, by your friends sometimes. It takes a determination to hold your ground. Doesn't it? It takes determination to be different. We're not the majority of Western Christianity. We're just a little weird, strange bunch of people over here on Mallard Creek that absolutely people have no idea what we are. Sometimes I'm not sure we know what we are because we're still in the making. But that's all right, and I hope you like that about HeartLight. Some other places you go, you know exactly what it is, what they believe, what they're going to do, and they're just kind of stuck. Now this is why the lotus is so important, because it starts from being stuck in the mud. The lotus starts in the mud. And then in it is this innate determination and commitment to get through the mud. If you're stuck, get more committed. And that lotus becomes so committed that now it moves from mud to water. And now you see the lotus on top of the water, but it came from under the mud. It doesn't start at the water. A lotus starts in the mud. It comes against the mud, through the mud, and it ends up being on the water. And where is it now? From the water, it receives the illumination of the sun and light. These are the 3 things we must pass through. Don't get stuck. HeartLight, don't get stuck. People in religion are mostly stuck. Most religions are not progressive. And I'm not afraid of the word progressive. I wish they'd quit stealing my words. My goodness, one of the best names I ever named my ministry was Progressive Truth in the 80s. I drew people from that name from all over the country and the world. It was the biggest ministry I had under the name Progressive Truth. And it wasn't that the truth was progressive, but the consciousness to understand the truth had to be progressive. And that's why we have become a part of a movement out there called Progressive Christianity, which is made up of a lot of churches who have grown out of their dogma and doctrine. They're still claiming a message to Christianity, but they are progressive in their thinking. They're not shutting down with judgment of saying this is all wrong and this is all right. And I love that idea. So let's dive into the first chakra. Woo. The first chakra is interesting, very interesting for us, and we should definitely know. It's called the Muladhara. Big word, but it's another Sanskrit word. It's called the Muladhara. We know it as the root chakra. I guess the most simple meaning of it is our root support. When we are born and gone through the whole experience of being born as a human being, the root chakra is created to give us a foundation of why we've incarnated. It is grounding to us, and it is the element earth. It is the element earth. So through the root chakra and the vibration and sounds of the root chakra, you can do what you say, and that's connect with Mother Earth. We say that, we pray for it, we do all kinds of things, but do we? The only way to do it is to match the vibration. If you're not matching the vibration of what you're talking about, then it doesn't mean much to you. You will not have the experience of what it means to fully live in your root chakra. Now, I want to say this, because of the chaos that we're living through at this time, and the breakdown of all, for I'm concerned, third dimensional systems, we need to know how can we navigate and survive during this time. Now you have to feel this. I'm not going to speak for you, I'm going to speak to you. You, us, most likely are not here by accident in this incarnation. I want to make this clear. And I want to make another thing clear. Because you're in your 70s or 60s or whatever, it's not over. Your wisdom is so needed right now, and your experience is so needed right now as never before. Don't you even think of folding it up. Don't you dare. You know, I've raised my family. I've done this, I've done that. I'm ready to. No. You've retired from a 3D, but you've been activated into the 4 or 5D level. Please get active. Get more active at HeartLight. I can't do anything. I don't have any talents. Oh my God. You have treasures of gifts and talents that could enrich this community. And most of it is the experience you've been into. People say, well, I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to say. Talk about what you've been through and how you got through it and what you learned from it. That's the story I want to hear. I want to know your story. Because at some level, your story is my story. Because when I hear a story and I go, well, that's not my lifetime, but maybe it was. Maybe I've lived that story that you're living now, but I'm not now. So how can my story be enriched until you share that part of my story through your story? And this is where deep communication and relationship is so rich. So let's say you were abused or abandoned. Maybe that's in your story, which would be probably most likely in your first, second, maybe third chakra. If you were abandoned, if you were abused sexually, mentally, or emotionally, that is now the part of your human story. But it doesn't change your created story. Don't think that. Nothing has been lost in what's been created. Nothing. You can't lose that. But you can replace it with a different story because we are so powerful through willingness and choice that we can choose to see it differently and again give it power by believing it as a reality, and therefore we begin to make a new story, a different story. And we call that, for a better term, the ego's version of ourselves. And now we think we don't have God's version anymore, so we need to get somewhere that can give it to us. And I don't know about you, but a lot of you have been around the block like I have a few times, thinking this is the place, this is the religion, this is the church, this is the teaching, to only find out it wasn't the it. Have you really found an it? No. There'll always be something that'll sound better, deeper, more rich, more enticing, The it is you. The God presence that you are is the it. The only thing that is absolute is I am. Say it. I am. Feel that. Feel that in the chakra system. Say it again. I am. What powerful words when used correctly. The location, actually, you're sitting on it. It's the perineum, base of the spine, and the coccygeal plexus of the body. The inner state represents what could be our security and stability. The outer manifestations that connect to it are things that are solid. People who are stuck in their root chakra tend to be only be able to accept things that are seen with the eyes and the ears and the five senses. If I can't see it, hear it, it does not exist. So this is where a lot of people are today who are not willing to look beyond the material world and to see things that exist beyond. The body parts that affect what's going on here is your legs, feet, bones, large intestines, teeth, are all affected by the story of your first chakra. So, I run to the dentist when I've got something wrong with my teeth. I run to the podiatrist if I need something with my feet. I run to the neurosurgeon if it's something to do with my bones or back. That's what I do, but I don't change the story. I just had that experience. I'm not going to go into it. I'm not ready to do confession yet. But as you know, I just went on one of my wild experiences of getting something that should have changed my entire life and did nothing. Again. Why? Because I keep trying to do something out here that is a manifestation of the story that is not my true created story. In other words, that's error, which is really translated metaphysically sin consciousness. Sin consciousness is erroneous thinking wrongly. That's another definition of it. The color seems to be the color red. Now, even in the Bible, the whole story of mankind begins with Adam. And you think Adam's just like Michael or whoever, Ben, Johnny. Wrong. Adam's not a name or label. It is a part of the consciousness that's incarnated out of the first chakra because it's truly Adam. It's not Adam. Adam is a transliterated, it's a made-up word. When I say transliterated, I mean they made up a word that sounds like the original word in the other language. So the real word is Adam. Adam in the Hebrew, A, the Aleph, the Elohim, and Dam is red because it means the blood of the Lord. And they make pottage out of red lentil beans, if you read it. So therefore, actually, Adam is the first red man. Now, I'm not saying that's the Native American, but it could represent that on a spiritual level, that man begins its life in the blood. Oh my God, I can't get into all that. But you can understand why the book is so bloody. And Jesus shed his blood and all of that. Before you throw everything out, you don't understand the real story. Why would you throw out something you don't know the story about? I'm going to throw Jesus out. I don't want Jesus. Do you know the real story? Nobody has a right to throw anything out until you understand the real story behind it. Well, I don't believe in hell. Do you understand in the story of where hell came from and why it's believed by a lot of people? No, I just don't believe it. That's a smug attitude that I find among a lot of New Thought people. I just don't believe it anymore. And they'll tell their family, I don't believe that anymore. And they go, why don't you? Because I don't know. My church doesn't teach that. Where do you get that? Well, let me tell you and show you in the Bible where it is. And you go, oh, well, I don't know any Bible. So you got me there. And they wipe the floor up with you because they've got the dogma. And you have nothing but a choice that you don't believe in it. But you didn't change the story. You got to start with the story. Now, this gets really interesting because the 7 chakras, as they start coming into the physical, represent a certain gland. A certain gland. There are 7 endocrine glands. Are you aware of that? The starts at the bottom, at the root, as the adrenals, which you have to have for survival. You move up, it's the ovaries and testes, which is sexuality, sacral. Third is the pancreas, power. Heart is the thymus, love. Thyroid, communication, throat chakra. Pineal, intuition. And pituitary, the spiritual. 7 chakras, 7 glands of the endocrine system. Now you're saying this is probably all new to me, but I'm telling you why things haven't worked for us, because we don't understand the story. And that's what we got to do this year at HeartLight, is we've got to reveal the real story and change the other story that's not giving us anything but death and pain and suffering and old age. Somebody help me. All that is a story. Aging is a story. It's a delusion. Life should not age. Life should not get diabetes. Life should not get all these things. And we are, and then, like me, got to use me as a sacrificial lamb here. I'm putting myself on the altar. Running to everything, buying everything on Facebook, getting the right supplement. Now, I'm not against all of that if you really know what you're doing and you've used your pendulum, as you'll learn today, or you've learned intuition and say, is this something my body needs? But we are so sucked into the way marketing has evolved itself and using subliminal messages and sucking us in, that I got something in the mail, was it yesterday? Oh my God, this big old thing. And I thought, what in the world? And it was some kind of a big black, they were huge. And I said, I've never seen those. And Tim looked it up and I ordered them. And it's for your neck and for your back. And I mean, they're just huge things. Like, what am I going to do with these things? I didn't order that. Yes, I did. Because I let myself be knocked out consciously. And I went into fear reactive mode that this is the it. Come on. And when I made it the it, then I forgot the it of the truth in myself. I forgot the presence in myself. I forgot that I say God is in me and all things are possible. I forgot it. I kept forgetting the real it and made it the it that I was looking for. Oh yeah, somebody help me.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean business in 2023. Are you ready?
Yes.
I'm serious. I mean business. We're going to change this whole story. And when we change this whole story, we're going to live a completely different manifested life. Oh, my time is gone. So, what we're going to do, I'm just going to stop, Tim. I may continue on to this, but we're going to do the exercise with the heart bowl at this time. If you are ready. Are you ready to do the affirmation? Okay. We're going to show just a minute or two, a little bit about the heart chakra, and I hope that you'll enjoy it. You need to turn the lights out for them, and I'm going to go over here.
The first chakra represents the material world, the indrawing gravity of matter, the force which binds energy into form and creates the density of the physical world. Its element is earth, and this is the chakra that represents the survival instinct and your primal connection with the earth's matrix of life. It is believed that the serpentine energy of the goddess Kundalini Shakti lies coiled 3 1/2 times around the base chakra, holding matter together. When aroused, Kundalini journeys up the spine, piercing and awakening each chakra in turn, as she reaches for the crown in search of her divine partner, Shiva, who abides in pure awareness. The name of this chakra, Muladhara, means root support. To have the proper foundation for the long journey upward, you need roots deep in the earth. It is here you come home to the peace, stillness, and solidity that is found in the natural world. Meditate here with your roots in the earth, honoring the temple of your body.
Okay. This is the root chakra bowl that we're going to use, and we're going to have you join us in a few affirmations for this first chakra.
And I don't have anything. Hello. Okay. All right. Repeat after me. I am worthy of respect. Together.
I am worthy of respect.
I am connected and grounded.
I am connected and grounded.
I withstand obstacles of life.
I withstand obstacles of life.
Feel that in your root chakra. I feel protected in this world.
I feel protected in this world.
And finally, I have a healthy body.
I have a healthy body. Close your eyes and imagine your attention going to the first chakra in your body, the base of your spine. For sound is a carrier of consciousness. Allow this sound to be connected to all of the organs, the adrenal, the feet, intestines, and all of the organs of the first chakra. And as this intent of vibration clears all blockages of being fully grounded in the reason of your incarnation, giving you great purpose and allowing you the clarity of navigating through this time of transformation and change. We are the caterpillar that has eaten the leaf that we were on until there's no more leaf. And there's nothing else to do but build a cocoon and transform ourselves in other than a leaf eater into the butterfly of the air. And together we're going to say these all again. I am worthy of respect. I am connected and grounded. I withstand obstacles of life. I feel protected in this world. I have a healthy body. So we're beginning exactly where we're supposed to begin to have a new beginning, which is Genesis. This is a new Genesis. All new Genesis start with vibration. And vibration through energy causes a sound. So therefore we're building on energy of vibration and sound, which gives us a color. So all of these ingredients, which is going to make up this whole patterns of sacred geometry that's going to be talked about here, you have to realize what the pattern should have been according to the universe versus the pattern that we have made for ourselves. And then we can begin through the language of mathematics to understand, oh my goodness, this could go so wonderfully. If you could understand how to proportion yourself to the golden mean ratio. The golden mean ratio. Oh my goodness, this is ancient. People have known about this in Egypt and all over the world, in Europe. All of the churches with those arches are all golden mean. And people sit in and think they're feeling the presence of God, but what they're feeling is themselves coming together in alignment. You know, I wish we had the ability to build something that is round and something that is in proportion to sacred geometry. That would be my ultimate desire and vision, is that we were in a position to do that. But right now we just have to create it energetically and vibrationally. And that's why that we are going to start talking about changing some of the things of the service, bringing in meditation, less talking, whatever, that's all going to come out. And you don't want to miss the committee meeting. It's as important as any meeting we've had, because it's going to contain a lot of the changes and things that we are getting ready to do, so that in 2023 we can go to the next level of what it means to be HeartLight. Join me. Mother, Father, God, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for allowing us to be your container. Thank you for pouring yourself into us as us. Thank you, because we remember. So many have not remembered. So many have not understood their journey down from the higher dimensions of the crown chakra through the birth, and how that we rise again. Rise again. Oh, the whole theme, isn't it? Rise, resurrection. He has risen. All of those are just powerful code words to say, change your vibration and bring it into total alignment of all 7 of your energy bodies through the chakras. Take a deep breath. And now I'm going to call upon the Holy Spirit to empower you for this week. Whatever you encounter today and through the rest of the week, that you will rise to the occasion with great awareness and mindfulness, that you will be guided and led through any kind of challenges that is thrown your way, that you have a week of transcendence, coming out of the mud and finding the water of your life, and look up, for your redemption cometh from the sun. For the sun hath healing in its wings, the sun of righteousness. Oh, just let's give a few seconds for the Spirit to do some ministry here. For you that are ready to receive something, you're going to receive it. You're going to receive it. You can't help but do it. For it's your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Don't have to beg for it. Wheel and deal with it. Receive ye the Holy Spirit. Receive ye health. Receive ye the blessing. Receive ye the clarity and direction. Receive ye. Say, I am ready to receive the highest and the best for my life in this moment. All the way from the higher, all the way down to the mental. Yes, my mental hasn't been the best lately. I've been more discouraged. I have more thoughts that are negative to me. Allow that to all go today. Release it and let it go. Let it go. Let it go. The emotional, and finally, all the way to the cellular level of your body. Into those joints, into those knees, into those shoulders, into the L4, 5, into the legs, into your eyes, into your ears. Receive the story of creation, that everything is finished and whole and well. Because God is, I am. Say it. Because God is, I am. Ooh, do you feel it? I feel the presence. I really feel Spirit wants us to talk about this. These energetic energy databases. Forget the word chakra and realize they're energy databases where you hold certain data of your story. And we're going in and we're going to have a spell check first, because we've all misspelled a lot of stuff in our story. So we're going to ask the Holy Spirit to do a spell check and change some of the sequences all the way of our DNA. Because if you're going to get cancer in the next few months or whatever, how do you know that's just not misspelled DNA? Any disease is nothing but misspelled DNA that's not following the DNA of creation of God. We could change the story of our DNA. Wow. Everybody say wow. Wow. This is a wow morning.
Time to let your heart shine.